we learn. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the Leather Technology and Trade Online Summit. This summit is basically to talk about the leathercraft industry and everything that happens in between trying to transit from a hobby into a craft business. We have esteemed facilitators here with us today. We have Ohepo Leathercraft, and then we also have Daniel Africa. Ohepo is having some issues with his connection. Can you hear me now? Am I still audible? Excellent. So I think Ohepo's connection just went out, but I'm certain that he'll come right in. In the meantime, let me share some slides to give you guys just a snippet of what to expect. So like I said, this is the Leather Technology and Trade Online Summit. In the course of the next 2 days, we are going to be looking at several sessions. So the session that we are in right now is the session of transiting from hobby to craft business. And then tomorrow by 9 p.m., we're going to have a very, very exciting, respectable gentleman in the person of Yasko talk to us about automating your leathercraft processes. Then on Saturday, we'll have Dedeman, and then Ohek will also come back to deal with using social media to promote your leathercraft business. And then we'll have a technical session where Dedeman will show us some nitty-gritty about construction of shoe soles. So if you're a shoemaker, that's a session that you should try not to miss. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings me to the point where I introduce my speakers for the evening. They say ladies first, so let me start with Daniel of Africa. D and L, right? D and L of Africa. D and L of Africa is a shoe architect. Let me inform you that she is a qualified architect. She has an MSc in architecture, but she fell in love with leather, just like all of us did. So she operates out of the beautiful city of Abuja, and she does a lot of revamp work. In fact, the reason why she's on this panel is because she has successfully transited her business from just being a hobby to being a proper leathercraft business. She does a lot. She does revamps. She does a lot of training, and then she is a leatherpreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome D and L of Africa. Say hello to the audience, D and L.
Hello, everybody. My name is Daniela Inuibo, popularly known as D and L Africa, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And then, of course, my Egmont himself, Ohepo Leathercraft. Ohepo is a gentleman who is very unassuming, but behind that his unassuming cloak is a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of drive. He is an expert leathercraft person, and in addition to that, he's also a savvy businessman. By the time he comes back tomorrow to talk to us about using social media to drive your business, you understand exactly what I'm saying. But for today, he's going to be speaking to us about transiting your business. How has he managed to transit his business from just being a leathercraft hobby to a leathercraft business? Ohepo, for starters, let's hear you say a few words to the audience.
All right.
Oh, sorry about that. I know he's going to come right back in shortly, but you've had everything you need to hear about Ohepo. And I guess while we wait for him to come back on stream, let me just take a few of the comments that we are seeing here. Aaron Yauna said, happy to be here. Francisca says, yes, I can hear you. Okay, I guess that was about the time we were having some technical issues. So Hekbo is back here. So Hekbo, we were saying you were doing your welcomes. So finish off with that.
Okay, all right. So good.
Yeah.
All right. So good day or good I greet all of you all according to your time zones, because I believe different people are joining from different part of the world. So I greet you in specific time zones. Okay. So my name is Omaye Benjamin Ohepo from Ohepo Leathercraft, and it's a great pleasure to to have you guys here. To also get to speak to you as well on this journey so far. So thanks, and it's a privilege.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I noticed that we have quite a number of comments and questions already. So, and then we have 20 people live, and that's for me is a record. I've never had this record on a live stream before. So, thumbs up, guys. Keep it coming. At some point, we are going to take these questions, but keep putting your questions down in the comment section. But let's get right into it so that we don't keep people waiting for too long. I'm going to start with you, D and L, right? Transiting your business from hobby to transiting yourself from hobby to leathercraft business. Let me ask you, at what point did you make that switch? At what point did you decide this thing is too good to be a hobby? I need to move it to a business. At what point?
At what point? I would say from the point that I gave the business a name, that was when I realized that this is not just a hobby anymore. Other people are involved. So once I named the business, because I've been into leathercraft for up to 13 years now, but when I gave the business the name, I think I've started leathercraft like over 15, 16, 17 years. But when I gave it the name, it's counting till now is 13 years. So when I just gave it DNL Africa, I realized that this is more than just a hobby. Like people are involved. So that was the point at which I realized that.
What inspired you to now give it the name? Was there any specific thing that happened at the time? The reason I'm asking is for people like me, it was a hobby. Would I even say it was a hobby? It wasn't really a hobby. It was just an interest. I used to watch YouTube videos. I like the fact that, there's a whole lot of craftsmanship involved in making shoes. But my own was Sakpa induced. For those of you who are not Nigerians, Sakpa is the fear of not having money in your wallet. Is called Sakpa. So, at some point I realized that look, you've got to do stuff, right? So that's the honest truth. So why I let you chew on that, D and L, or heck with, let me also ask you the same question. Was your transition from hobby to business Sakpa induced, or was it like D and L, a thing that other people are now involved, and therefore we have to set boundaries and know exactly what we are doing? Or Hebo? Wow. Okay, while we are waiting for Hebo to come back on, D and L, so just explain to me further, why did you give it a name at that particular time, and then now make it a full-time business beyond architecture?
Yes. So I have been in love with leather for a very long time. And I was, first of all, yes, doing it just for the fun of it. But when people started admiring what I was doing and they were saying, this thing you are doing, can you do it for me? And I realized that other people's happiness depended on what I produced. That was when I realized that this thing is beyond just being a hobby, because I'm someone who I go all out in everything I want to do. Even when I was doing it as a hobby, I was always doing it like extreme. I would put in all my energy. So anything you invest your energy, your time, your intellect into, you should be paid for it. Yes. So that's when I realized that I have to be paid for this thing that I'm investing so much energy into. And when I put a price on it, and I was like, okay, this service is going to be this particular price, people were happy about it. In fact, imagine getting to the extent when your hobby, when you tell people to pay for your hobby, people tell you thank you. That's when you know that you're actually doing a good thing. So that was just it for me.
Excellent. So at the point you found out that this hobby was useful to someone, you decided, you know what, let's call spades spades and do business, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct in
creating
that?
value. Yeah, yeah. I was creating value, so it had to be a business. So
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent. So let me still okay, Ohepo is joining us on another. All right. So yeah, so Ohepo, I've just asked D and L, and she said the moment she realized that she was giving value that people found very valuable, she decided, look, this thing has to be called a business. Let me ask you, I'm not going to ask you the same question, but let me ask you, at the point where you moved from being a business and became, sorry, at the point where you moved from being a hobby and became a business, how did your stakeholders react? When I mean stakeholders, your usual customers. You know, as a hobbyist, you have customers. You have people who are buying from you, but you are dealing them like, look, this is a hobby. You have your friends, your family, your colleagues in the office who you are making bags for. At the time you decided, look, this is now going to be a business. How did they react, and how were you able to manage stakeholder reaction as a result of your transition from hobby to business? Oheko, can you hear me? I think, wow, I think he's having serious network issues. Well, while he sorts that out, DNL, you want to take a bite at that question?
Um,
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, Oheko, did you hear the last question before you went? Did you hear the last question I asked? I said, you know, you transited from hobby to business, but you had people who you were giving some value for, even while you were doing it as a hobby. How did those guys react to your now transitioning from hobby to business? I guess the question should be, what sets you apart from hobby to business?
Okay, so it's for me or for D and L?
For you, Oheko.
Okay, all right.
For you.
So, well, for me, if I get your question correct, you're asking what made me to kind of like switch, you know, from just a hobby to switch from a hobby to a business, if I get it correct. Okay, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So for me, I think my own later journey, it all started with a quest for, I would say, satisfaction.
Okay. While we wait for Ohebo to sort out his connection issues. While we wait
Hello?
for Ohebo. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, I said my own later journey, I think it's more of it's for satisfaction than you know, it's a hobby generally. So, but for me, the switch was when I started, when the number of clients started increasing for me. So at that point, I was like, wow, I think if I'm doing the same thing I love doing, and you know, I'm getting the feedback, and people are really impressed with the work, I mean, that's when it dawned on me that okay, this is actually going to be a business. So it's time you also give your full attention and see what goes from there. So uh, for me to determine that okay, it's the right time to switch. It's no more longer a hobby. You know, as much as a hobby as well, it's no more longer a hobby. It's time to switch from a hobby to a business. I think for me, it's the numbers. Okay, so as the clients start coming in, the numbers of others start coming in. At that point, it dawned on me, and it's like, okay, good, there's going to be a business. So did something around it. So that gave birth to Ohepo Leathercraft generally.
Excellent. So for D and L, it was the amount of value that you were creating that people were willing to pay for. And for Hepo, it was the number of people who were in demand for this your hobby. And I guess it's basically the same thing, right? But let's stop thinking about ourselves now and think about the people in the audience. We have 18 people watching live right now. What specific things, D and L,
Okay.
did you do when you decided that this is no longer a hobby? What specific steps did you take? I know you mentioned that you gave it a name. Beyond giving it a name, what else did you do to now set yourself apart from just being a hobby and a full-fledged business? Dear,
Okay. So yeah. So what I did, the first thing I did was to create a structure around the business. That's the most important thing when you want to turn your hobby into a business. You have to create a structure. And the reason why you have to create a structure is because you cannot run your business as a one-man business, because you are going to have an order of things, like an organogram. The business will have to run when you are not around. If your business is a business that runs only when you are not around, you've not started anything. You've not been able to do anything. So the first thing I had to do was to create a structure. The structure was like this: how do I get materials? How do I source for my customers? Where do I source for my customers? How do I package their goods? How do I respond to their orders when they come in? How do I talk to them? How do I receive their? These are the things that I have to put in place so that if I have someone working for me tomorrow and I'm not in that particular space, they already know where to get materials, what last to use, what kind of customers they attend to, what prices to give for each kind of work, how to receive the customers. There's a culture that a particular company portrays that will make the customer stay or not. Actually, I don't really call my people, I don't call them customers, I call them clients. You are only a customer when you stay, when you keep coming. So once I'm meeting you for the first time, you're a client. All right. So how do we make these clients to stay? So if my staff portray bad attitude and I'm the only person that portrays a good attitude, that means my business is going to run under, because they don't have a culture of the company. So you have to have culture of your company. So all these things are under structure. I don't really want to go too far in all this. Let me just stop here for now so that other questions can be asked.
very, very true what you said, right? What I hear that you say is that you set up a structure, even at those early times that that whole structure was being run by you. So, but at least you set up that structure so that if you are going to replace someone there's already matching orders for the person to take. And I think that's very, very important. Even for me, it's still something that I struggle with. When you're running a one-man show, it's easy not to be organized. It's easy to decide I'll do this at that what time and not really have a plan around it. But I think you have mentioned something that is very, very key for everyone to take away. Have a structure and a plan about how this business should run. When should this business source for raw materials? Who should be sourcing for this raw materials? Where does this business source for its raw materials? And how does this business respond to its customers? Right? And even if you, one man, are the only person doing all of those things, keep notes of that thing, that all of those points, because the day you are going to employ someone to fill in that space, you already have something that the person can step into. I hope I got my summary of your position is very, very is accurate, DNL. My summary of your position, was it accurate enough? DNL, did you hear my last point? Wow. Okay, let me get back to Ohekpo. DNL, did you hear the last thing I said? I said, hello. You are muted. You're muted.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't hear the last point you made. It went off.
Okay. I said your point, the summary of your point really is that when you set up the structure, even if you are the only person who is manning those structures, really do
Yeah.
set them up and document the entire processes. Correct?
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Exactly.
So let's talk about the struggles now. What has been the struggles with moving away from uh, hobby to business?
Whew, the struggle. Should I talk about the struggles from the beginning or the struggles right now?
Go the whole 9 mile. Because look, I was looking through the channels. Let's have a conversation here. I was looking through the comments in the WhatsApp chat, and quite a number of
Okay.
people are new entrants, people who are just
Okay.
coming into the business. So it might be worth their while to talk about those early stages struggles, and then also talk about the struggles that you are having now that you are somehow established, so that somebody will know immediately, is this what am I really cut out for this? Should I really bother myself so much about going into this? And then if someone is also having those trouble at the early stages, the person can immediately say, okay, if D and L did it, I can persevere and then do it. So
Yeah.
let's hear.
Okay. So let me start from the beginning. When I realized that this is no more a hobby, it's now a business. I realized that I can't just pause at any time. I can't just decide to just up and leave. People are now involved. I keep on saying this. People are involved. It's because there are some people that are so they don't really consider their customers or their clients as important. Whereas the whole existence of your whole business is your clients or your customers. Your business cannot move forward without your customers. A business that does not have customers is going to fold. Most of the businesses that fold today is because they don't even have customers, or they were not able to handle their customers properly. One customer can destroy your business. So one of the problems that I faced initially was trying to meet up, because okay, I said I created a structure, I created value, people were coming for it and all of that. So let me just refer a little bit to what Ohepo said. He said the demand started increasing. If you have demand and you don't have enough supply to meet up the demand, you will crash. Like, the way you will crash, you will not believe it. So if you know that your supply cannot meet up the demand, don't put yourself out there yet. Get yourself in place. Make sure that you have running channels. That it's not just about social media. Just put yourself out social media. Maybe one video just blow up on TikTok and everybody is demanding for your service. Hey, you can do this, you can do this. In one day, you have 100 people asking for the same thing. If you don't have a structure and you are too overwhelmed with social media, with fame, with the idea that demand is increasing, you are going to have a lot of trouble. So one of the problems I had is because, okay, because of the way I started my business, I'm educated, I have an idea of, okay, this is how business is meant to be run and stuff like that. So I didn't really start in a small way, as for like, the whole packaging. You see, I said I gave my business a name. So you already had a brand name. The first sort of footwears I produced, first set of bags I produced, everything it was like a shoe line. I brought photographers they were my friends, so it was free, so don't think I had the money. I brought photographers to take pictures. I posted on Facebook. In fact, the behind the scenes, I was like, anticipate for 1 month the release of the flick line, the sleigh line. People were just so excited. They were waiting. So I came in with a blast. So there was this high standard that I've already put, that I myself, I could not meet up to, because most of them was like a facade. I just bloated the whole thing. It's not bad for you to enter, package yourself and make yourself like classy, because definitely if your business is classy and packaged, it will determine the kind of customers you have. So one of my problems, in fact, to the extent that I did not know so much about leather, I just knew a little bit. So there were some kind of footwears I didn't know how to do, and the others were coming in for it. So just imagine, after putting all that on social media, and someone just comes and say, okay, I need this footwear, I need this, and I mess up the order. that person, that one bad customer, then one bad job has already messed up a lot of jobs I was meant to get. So to the extent that there was a time I wanted to close my business, I cried so much. I told my mentor that I'm closing down my business, and he didn't even help matters. He told me I should close down the business, that the jobs are coming, I should come and give it to him, blah blah blah. I was like, okay, no problem. I've already decided I was going to close down the business. But truthfully, I'll talk about the gains later. So that was one of my major problems. I was so overwhelmed with the demands that came in. My supply was not able to meet up. So even though I said I set structure, I had another problem: people power. I didn't have the people power. I've not done my research properly to know that, okay, oh, you can actually own a business and you don't have to have all your staff in your space. You can own a business and you have staff scattered all over the place, like people who are good. They are working for you, but they are not in the same space with you. You don't really have to have staff all over. I didn't know that. So I was there looking for people that come and work under me, work with me. And the prices they were calling, I could not pay. You understand? So that was like the second problem. I didn't have people power. I didn't have that. Then the third major problem I had was customers, pricing. When you're a startup, people tend to undervalue your products. No matter how good you are, they just want to make you feel like they can get it elsewhere better. And it's a very big lie. It's a big lie. You know, the thing that we usually do as craftsmen is that we undervalue ourselves. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can ever do to yourself. Do you know that I cannot make shoe the way you make shoe, Momo? I can't make shoe the way you make shoes. And you can't make shoes the way I make shoes. If you make shoes, some people that know your way will know that you are the one that made this shoe. If I make a shoe, some people will know that I'm the one who made this shoe. So there's no, like, your what's going to make you stand out is the you in your craft. But we tend to undervalue ourselves because people just make you feel like they can get your services anywhere else. So because they undervalue your product, you are now tempted.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say pause for a while. I see that you're very passionate about this aspect. I was going to say pause for a while so that I give people a chance to say something, but apparently the network is still giving him some bit of a challenge. So probably go on, but before that, yeah. So all of these struggles, you mentioned the struggle with staffing, the struggle with over demand. So what did you do? 1, 2 bullet points. What did you now do to overcome these challenges?
I had to learn how to outsource and trust people.
Okay, tell me about that.
Okay. I realized that there are good people in the craft industry, but if you don't go out there to source for them, you may never find them. So I had to learn how to stand up from my shop, go out and look for people who are good. So that was how I learned how to outsource. Then I learned project management. You know, when a job is being given, how to follow up people, how to make sure that they give you what you want, even from a distance. Just follow up. That's another skill. It's something that you have to learn because even when you outsource to people, they might not really be able to give you exactly what the customer says. And I learned how to interpret customers' demands to people who are working for me. You know, if a customer tells me something that the customer wants, I might be the only person that knows how to produce that particular thing for the person. But I had to learn how to explain the customer's feelings to the people working for me. You get, no matter where they are, without missing anything. So that actually helped me learning how to do project management from afar.
So let me follow up. Let me follow up on this. Yeah, there's a feedback. Do you have the event playing somewhere in the background? Okay, I think the feedback is gone now. Okay, so I wanted to follow up on three of these points that you mentioned. And gentlemen in the audience, pay attention to some of the things that she has said. Key thing is interpretation of customer demand. She had to learn it the hard way. Learn how to know exactly what the customer wanted, interpret it accurately. You're going to talk to us about where you learned that, or at least how you learned it. Then number two is outsourcing. When you're outsourcing, what are you looking out for? Right? What are you looking out for in the person that you're outsourcing to? So that there are some people who might be here who might be considering to toe the same path that you have done, and just give them pointers that they can take away from this session and then apply it to their own business. And then number three is the big word. You said project management. I typically don't like zingers. Project management is a big word, right? What does it entail? Can you break it down into layman terms? How am I managing a particular project? Give me illustrations of what it's what project management, having skills in project management, can do for someone who wants to transit from hobby to business. I hope you got all of that. Did you get all of that? All of that.
Yes, I did. Where do I start from? Do I start with?
Maybe start with interpretation of customer demand. Start with interpretation of customer demand.
Okay. So interpretation of customer demand. Let me try to summarize it as much as possible. When someone tells you something, I want to tell it to someone else. There's a possibility that you may summarize it and miss out some words. It's called I think it's improper. I've forgotten what it's called, but I know it's in English. There's this word they use. But when you want to tell someone something that someone else has told you, you tend to miss out some things. So when your customer tells you that this is exactly what the customer wants, let me give for example, a customer wants this footwear, right? And the customer wants this footwear in a size 41. All right, so you write 41. The customer wants this footwear to be light. Okay, so you write light, and the customer wants this footwear to be soft on the base, the footrest to be soft. So you write soft. So always make sure that when the customer is asking you to produce a particular thing, let's say, because mostly customers send a picture, okay, that, oh, this is a picture, I want this, blah, blah, blah. When the customer sends a picture and says this is what you want, always make sure that you ask the customer why the person wants it. Some customers, they want a footwear, let's say just because they like that this is high, they like the height of the sole. So if you go and produce that footwear without putting that height of sole into consideration, no matter how beautiful the footwear is, the customer will be very angry at the result. That is what usually brings what I ordered versus what I got. All right. So to avoid what I ordered versus what I got, ask the customer, in this footwear that you are showing me, why do you want this footwear? Do you want this footwear because of the shape of the footwear? If the customer says, yes, it's in the shape of the footwear I want, make sure that you get a last that has that shape. Let me just leave that one by the side. But you just have to understand that. Make sure you ask your customer what exactly they want. That's all. Because you are not producing the footwear for you to wear. It is a customer. So now that you know exactly what they want, as you are telling the person you are outsourcing it to, because even when you have staff working for you, you hope you know that's outsourcing, because you are not the one doing it yourself. You have staff working for you. Now you write the specification. This footwear must be soft. This footwear must have a high sole. This footwear must be in size 41. Have you translated what the customer wants? Yes. So that is the way I learned how to translate what my customer wants. Sometimes my customer gives me a footwear and I produce exactly what is there. But maybe I just left out a small detail. Maybe the sole I saw in the market was not exactly that sole in the picture. Of course, we cannot get the exact thing. Okay, that brings me to the point of communication. Always communicate to your customer if there's any change. So that's about that. Then I think the next one is, have I answered about that? Is that one okay?
I think you've talked about customer requests,
West.
and then also delved into outsourcing, because when you interpret it properly, then you can be able to communicate effectively to the person you are outsourcing to. So where I want you to now go is the big word that you use, the project management. I guess that also is what accounts for a lot of the problems where people categorize us and tell us, we footwear people categorize us and tell us in the same category, that they bring AK-47 to our studios and our workshops close to Christmas or close to Salah period, just to monitor and see that we. So talk about project management, and let's see how that factors in the entire scheme of things.
Okay. Project management is simply managing a project. Okay. I learned that from architecture. Yeah. We have buildings and all of that, and we call our buildings projects. Okay. Right from the design to the roofing and commissioning is all a project. So likewise, your shoes, when you want to produce your shoes, they are all projects. Okay. Project is just anything you want to embark on. So management of project is, how do I control this project to make sure that it comes out well? Finish. That's just simple. How do I control it properly? Okay, how do I monitor this? Okay, so that's project management. All right, so and hope you know that every project has a timeline. Every project has a timeline. So the thing is that you have to first of all ask, okay, your customers, yes, see, customers, they always have timeline. Customers, there are some of them that they will be saying the truth. Some will lie about the timeline just because they don't trust you to meet up with the exact day that they actually need it. Some of them, they don't need it next weekend. They'll tell you that it's next weekend, they are traveling, go. All right. So this has taught me a lot of things. And again, as a professional, you have to know that you are a craft person. You are not a factory. You don't yet have, I'm talking to the beginners, you don't yet have automated machines to carry out these things for you. So you cannot calculate, you cannot compare yourself with is it Vietnam, all these places. You can't compare yourself with all these places, China, that they produce these things in mass. Even them, when they order from Jumia, they will have to wait. There's a wait time before shipping happens, before they get their orders. I ordered hairs from a particular vendor, and I've ordered it for like a month now. I have to wait for the hair to come to me. Did I shoot her? No. Did I carry AK-47 to her shop? No, I didn't do that. But why is it that it is only shoemakers that
No,
people want to come and tell you?
Tailors suffer the same.
Yeah. Shoemakers and tailors. Why is it only shoemakers and tailors that people always want to, force us to work with their own timeline? That's because you don't have value for yourself. As a creative, you're not a roadside shoemaker. You're not. Even if you're a roadside shoemaker, be a classy one. You set your timelines. Right now, my customers, they always ask me, now, not before, now. They will ask me, Ma, please, what is the best possible time I can get this? Even if I know, this is one thing, this is where I'm coming to. Even if I know that I can produce this your footwear, it's a simple thing, just to put gum. I can do this thing in 3 days. I will tell you to collect it in 1 week. I could even tell you it's not going to be available till next 2 weeks, so that if by 1 week I deliver that thing, you'll be happy, you'll be grateful to me. You understand?
Okay, thank you very much, D&L. Thank you very much, D&L. Thank you very much. Ohepo is back here. Let's give him some.
Yeah, can you hear me, Victor?
Yes, I can hear you, Ohepo. I can hear you very well. I hope the network stabilizes right now. While you were out, D&L has held court excellently. She has talked about a lot of things, setting up organograms, project management, and then interpretation of customer requests, customer demands. And she said one thing that struck me, that in fact I have learned from: always ask why. whatever it is the customer says they want, don't just ask them for what they want, but ask why they want it. The answer, the hidden answer that you probably will not get from what, may be answered in the why. And I tell you a story. I had a friend of mine, in fact, a mentee of mine, he gave me footwear that he wanted me to make for him. He couldn't make it, he was a job poor. The picture of the footwear that I made for him from that project is one of my highest scoring light productions. But you know what? It was a return footwear. The customer simply didn't like the color. And me, I'm a man, I'm colorblind. If you tell me brown, you mean brown. It is not chocolate or coffee or any of those type of brown. You understand? So when they said they wanted brown, my mind went to brown. And I got brown leather and I did the work for him. Only for me, and I was bragging to myself that look, I did excellent work. I delivered the work. They say they don't want. I said, you know what? I paid them. I sent them their money because, of course, this was a young gentleman that was looking up to me. So I couldn't fall his hand. So immediately he told me the customer rejected the work. I said, no problem. I sent him the money. Then I sent money to have the thing returned back to me. No, I don't think I did that. I allowed him have the shoe, but I sent him the amount he paid to have the shoe made. So so that's something very, very important that you've mentioned there. While we're there, let's while we wait for Hepo to come back in, let's see some of the questions that have been asked on the comment section. And gentlemen, if you are in the comments, this is a good time to throw your comments in. Mohammed Nehal said, "Sir, I have a question." He said, "When I spring the apron after I spring the length of the pattern, is increasing in length. Why is it increasing?" Okay, this is not the session for that. Okay, being that you have raised this question, I'll take a technical session on springing of aprons. I guess what you're referring to is springing of apron loafers. These are probably people who follow me on my channel, so we'll deal with that in the course. Someone put up a question that is related to what we are discussing. Thank you for the privilege. Okay, yeah, I heard that. I know my videos have been incredibly helpful, but let's hear what questions do you guys have related to your struggles with transiting from hobby to business. Someone here says, thanks for talking about the pricing and undervalued part. I get that a lot, and I have cut down my price, and that I don't even gain at some point. Kai, how do I tackle that, please? So I guess this is something you would want to respond to D and L. This person, Emmanuel Richard, said that look, people have boxed him into the point of so undervaluing his products that sometimes it's hard to see profits.
Yeah, so I had thank you, sir. I this question really touched me. I had a section sometime I think last 2 or 3 months about how to create value around your business and all of that. And this question always came up. So here's the thing, right? You have to either change your customers or you have to look for another source of income. The reason why this is happening is because you treat your business as your source of food. This your brand. Okay, let me just call it a brand. If your business is just a business and it's not really a brand, people are going to treat it anyhow. Let me try to explain. A brand is not really a source of income. It's not a hunger curing this thing. You don't just if you enter into shoemaking because you are hungry and you are looking for food to eat, people just give you anything and you just take whatever because they'll say, you don't have a choice. But if you treat your business as though, okay, you're not scared of losing customers and say customers, because customers will have to go before you get to this stage where you can put up a price and people will actually pay and say, this person is worth this thing. You have to get through that space that customers will go. It's not every customer that is for you. Until you realize that not every customer for you, you just keep on collecting, receiving everything that anybody is giving to you. So that's number one. You have to realize that yes, customers will go, and the customers who really actually pay for your services are not people you know. They are not people you know. They are not your friends and family. They are people you don't know. You know, that's why I really, if you are the one that asks this question, Emmanuel, make sure you are here for the second and third day, the day where they talk about social media, because social media is the next big thing. All the people who actually patronize me today, they don't patronize me because they know me around me. Even the people around me that are patronizing me now, they saw me on social media. People that are in my church, people that are in my environment, my neighbors, they saw me on social media before they started patronizing me. It's not as if they didn't know that I was a shoemaker. They knew, but they did not patronize me until they saw other people patronizing me and they now wanted to associate with me. So the people who actually come and patronize me bring their shoes for revamp. Now imagine people sending shoes from Lagos to repair, shoes from Port Harcourt to repair, from every part of the country. Why? Because of social media. And these people, I charge them well and they pay. Why? Because they don't know me. They are like, there's no over familiarity. So first of all, the first thing is that you have to get ready to lose customers, number one. Number two, you have to create value around your business. Don't see your business as an hunger escape. This is maybe you should look for something else that you can use to make money. Maybe another thing, another stream of income, like so that you will be, you can make decisions. They say a hungry man cannot really think straight. He cannot make right decisions. But when that part is sorted out, customers will have to plead with you for you to collect, like for you to actually do things for them, not you begging them to stay. And again, the third thing is change your customers. You have to go out, look for another way to get customers, and I think that will help.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So I guess Emmanuel, she said. Okay, let me mute you, D and L. So Emmanuel, I guess she has said quite a lot. What I want you to take away from all that she has said is, number one, find new customers. As a business, it's never, customers are never enough. Every opportunity you have to get, find new customers, right? So she has said, make sure you're here for the session on using social media. That would also help you. But then something very key that she said that I think you need to pay attention to is the fact that, look, if one of the reasons why people will want to price you out of the market is because they see that you need the money. So they are using the money as a bait to, woo you. When you are able to show them that, look, I don't need your money, they will pay more. So if you'd have to do something else to give yourself that base that, look, no matter how hard it gets, my price will remain at this level at this time, then do it. Take that as the sacrifice that you're making at this point, to get your craft to where it is. And I sympathize with what you're facing, and that's something that many craftsmen face all the time. And I think that brings me to some other question that someone, Shalom Peter, he has a YouTube channel. If you guys, he's here, I just want to give a shout out to a fellow YouTuber, Shalom Peter Gebe. Meanwhile, our facilitator here is doing big things on TikTok. So go and follow D and L of Africa on TikTok. And I think you have a YouTube channel as well, right? So yeah, look for her on YouTube and follow her. Shalom is a fellow YouTuber. He does great work on YouTube. So you guys go and check out Shalom and give him some love. When you get there, let him know that you came from here, so that, it's all love. And then, now, this brings me to what I wanted to say. This person, Chinwendu Ona Francisca, said, being in a rural area is a problem because sourcing materials is not easy. How do I handle it? Let me answer that very straight up. It's always going to be a problem if industries that are far away from their sources of raw material struggle with the same things that you're struggling with. So that's not unusual. You have to devise a way. If I was in your position, what will I do? I'll make the kind of shoes that the people in the big cities don't make, so that I'm not constantly pursuing the same customers that they pursue. Let me give you an example. There's a type of boots that I'm making right now. I'm in the city, I'm in Lagos. My house is just 15 minutes away from Mushi, but I've decided to move into hand welted constructed shoes. And that's for a reason. I find that the cement constructed shoes are saturating everywhere. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of the artistry that I want to bring out. Could you learn something different? That you make one shoe and you can make as much profit from that one shoe that people who have made 5 will make. And you don't even have to stress yourself too much, because the person who is waiting for you to make that one shoe in a rural area doesn't mind waiting for you for 1 month just for you to finish it off. I've been on this boot for the past 1 month and I'm not in a hurry, right? The person who needs this boot is traveling to the UK with it, and he gave me a long enough time for me not to. So I'm not in a hurry to put it out. So I guess that's also something you'd have to. Then, of course, you can partner, like you said, learn to trust people. So you probably have to come to where you source your raw materials every once in a while. Make friends. Use your 5 and 6. Use your intellect, and then God also guiding you. Make friends with those people there, and then be ready to sacrifice the few things that you'd have to give them to be able to get raw materials across to you. But it is a real problem, and it is not something unusual for people who stay far from their sources of raw materials. Someone here says, are you into brand owning or into manufacturing? Well, I own a brand and I manufacture my own products. So that's it. I do not simply just conceive products and then send it out for people to produce for my brand. And don't mistake what D and L said for as that being what she does. She is a real producer of footwear, and not just a brand owner. I'm correct about my assessment of your craft, D and L.
Yeah, you are.
Excellent. Then let me run quickly through these questions. Emmanuel said, please, is it ideal to pay another person to produce for you in case of bulky production without them being your workers? Okay, so DNL, let me leave you to say that.
Yes, once you pay them, once you pay anybody to produce anything for you, the person automatically works for you, because we have different kinds of worker. We have on-site workers, we have remote workers, we have contract workers. These are people that come in just on daily basis just to help you ease off the stress. You can pay them wages. You have workers who are even someone who is very good, like someone who's your boss, can even work for you as long as you pay the person, is the person you're a worker, and as long as it's in your name, it's for you. So as long as you monitored the project and you told them, this is what I want, this is how I want it, this is where I want it, it's your product. So it's okay. It's just that maybe don't just mislead your customers. Sometimes just maybe learn how to produce so that you will not be disappointed often, because there's a reason why the customer wanted it from you. Okay, but it's not everybody that will be into production. Last, so we just have to know. Some people are going to be brand owners. Some people will not be able to produce every single part, because leather is very vast and wide. In leather, we have wallets, we have belts, we have shoes, we have heels self. I know some people who don't do heels. I know some people who don't do boots. I know some people who is only palm slippers they do. So when you get jobs for heels and bags, you can decide to take the jobs and give it to somebody else to do. So it's not wrong. It's very okay.
Nothing else to say.
Nothing else to say.
I think Richard, you got the answer that you wanted. Let's keep scrolling along. You say, okay, good question. Oluranti Osoko. I hope I'm not murdering your name. If I am, my apologies. Said, how do I cost my products without making it too cheap or expensive as a newbie who wants to attract clients? Okay, good. I'll take a bite at this question, then I'll allow D and L also take a bite. Now, here is what I do. Here is what I do in pricing. First of all, whatever pricing you're going to put to a product must really be a price. Otherwise, it will be charity. So let's say it costs you to 12,000 naira to produce a pair of footwear. You can't sell it anything below 12,000, and you have to really ask yourself, did it really cost you 12,000 naira? That means you're factoring in the cost of raw material. What many of us do is we just factor in the cost of raw materials and slap an extra amount of money on top of that cost of raw materials and call it the price. But that's a very, very wrong way of going about it. Right from my early days, what I used to do is I factor in the cost of all of the raw materials, including the gum, that gum that you buy in bulk, that you will not finish using on that one pair. I'll put a cost on the gum. All of that will go into the cost of the raw materials. Then I'll say, even though I was working from my own house using my own private family electricity that I was using, I will say, look, if I was in a factory, if I had to rent a shop, for instance, wouldn't I have electricity in that shop? So I'll add maybe 500 naira as electricity cost on that shoe. Then I'm the only one who worked on that shoe. I say, if I was going to I had a bunch of boys who used to come around. I didn't have enough money to employ them full time. So what used to happen was that they would always come around to help me out. And whenever they come, I'll pay them something. I say, how many days would it take these boys to finish off all of the work on this pair? If I say it was going to be 2 days, if I was going to call them for each of those 2 days, how much would I pay them for each of those 2 days? If it was 2,000 naira for each of those 2 days, I'll add it to that cost. I'm the only one who worked on that shoe, so I'm paying myself 2,000 naira for each of those 2 days on that shoe. By the time I submit all of these costs together, if I want to be generous, if the person who ordered that shoe is a youth corps member, and that is my standard for generosity. I don't know whether you get what I'm saying. I don't believe that anybody should be poorer than a youth corps member, even though that is a lie. Youth corps members have more money, but at least in principle, on paper, you can say that a youth corps member is a copperwee, is a suffering. So if the person who ordered the shoe is a youth corps member, then I'll only add 30% of all of that cost to the shoe as extra profit. Meanwhile, if you are well structured as a business, part of your cost is tax. So part of your cost is the amount of money you are spending on data that you are using to post all of those fine pictures of your shoes on social media. So you have to really sit down one day and itemize what are the things that should go into the cost of my product. Some of them are constant. You would always have to have internet for your Facebook, even though you're posting your own selfies there as well. All of it is part of branding. Yeah, getting people to see you as a big boy in the industry. Yeah, that amount. So you divide it into the number of shoes you are probably producing every month, and then assign a cost to each of those. So you can say that, look, social media cost on each of my shoes will be 500, 200 naira. So all of those base ones that won't change. Electricity cost may be 500. You put all of those ones that won't change. So you have those base costs, so that whatever the cost of your raw materials are, you simply, let's say the base, all those unchanging base costs, come up to like 2,000 naira. You add 2,000 naira immediately to your cost of raw materials, and then you can begin to start adding your profits. So now, but how you decide to do your profit is entirely up to you. Some people structure themselves as luxury brands. Fine. So, their profits are way, way more, which means when you walk into their workshops, they are really, really luxury brands. You expect to have an air conditioned office, you expect to have the place smelling nice, you expect to have certain things going in that direction. But how you cost is entirely, how you rate your profits is entirely up to you. But what I've just said is how I do mine. So there is the cost of materials, then there are the base running costs of the business: electricity, social media, internet, all of those things. Those ones would have to go into the cost. Then, if you are making for people who you consider to be low in their station in life at the particular time, you give them 30% on top of that. Then you can increase the percentages depending on the customer. D and L, let's hear what you do in that direction.
Okay. Are we together? Okay, okay, all right. So I'm going to start from the base, what she said. You have said a lot, and I was taking notes, and this is something I say a lot. And I didn't know that okay, there are other people who have this same notion about costing and even more. So I even took notes. But I want to ask her a question now. Okay, what kind of clients do you want to attract? You have to ask yourself this question: what kind of clients do I want to attract? Like he said, some people price themselves as a luxury brand. So meaning the people that they are attracting are luxury about it. All right. Why some people, the people that they're attracting, they're just average class, so they don't want to put any price, like don't scare people away. Why some people, like those luxury people, they feel like they're like, I don't have anything to lose. Like I'm a luxury brand. If you have money, you pay, and people are paying. That's the thing. People are paying. Then some other people, I don't have. I just want to, 2,000 naira slippers, 3,000 naira slippers, and people are buying. Okay, so you have to ask yourself first, what kind of clients do I want to attract? Then he said a lot of things about the base running of the business and also your cost of materials, because truthfully, that's one of the problems that people are facing. People just put profits. They just say, okay, I buy this material for 3K. Oh, so my profit, I won't just put profit. My profit are like 1K or 500. I was talking to somebody, I was counseling someone, I was coaching someone some days ago, and the person was telling me that the profit on his shoe is 500 naira. I was like, how? I couldn't phantom it. I was trying to understand. I couldn't understand. Like, is it for transport or what? Or is it for is it for the calls? And this person is on social media, 247. So in that sense, as though you're running a charity, like you said. So this brings me to a very important thing I always tell my people that I talk to. There's a difference between profit and workmanship. All right? Profit is not workmanship. I'll say it again. Profit is not workmanship. So the earlier you realize that, the better. So minus the whole rent, transportation, data and calls, packaging and branding. The other day, I went to buy nylon for my footwears. For more nylon, 9,000 naira I spent to buy nylons. And this nylon, I didn't brand it though. Before, when I used to brand my nylons for 100 pieces, I brand DNL on them. I pay 6,500 for only 100 pieces. This one is unbranded though. 9,000. So just imagine, that's just one part, and you are saying that you're not going to be considering all this. So all the nylons you buy in call, won't you put them into your, So let's just, then the fuel, because you see right now I'm running fuel, but fuel. Then there's tax. Buhari Area Council the other day came to my office and said I'm owing them 20,000 for putting my signboard outside. These are things that you have to consider in your costing. So let's go back to what I talked about, profit and workmanship. So workmanship is that money that you pay yourself for doing the job that other people could have done, that's workmanship. That's not profit oh. Okay, workmanship is, if you don't calculate workmanship in your costings, right, you can never employ labor. Because imagine you are producing a footwear. Let me give the example for this footwear again. You are producing this footwear for 5,000 and the raw materials is 3,000, and you tell yourself that okay, no, raw materials is like 4,000 naira is your profits on top. Do you know that you can never ever outsource these slippers to somebody else to do? Why? Where will you start getting the money to pay them? You don't have any money to pay them. You now start begging them, hey, yeah, please now, the customer, you now start seeing someone that you're begging someone to do the work for 2,000, at least make I see something on top. That's not how to do business. That's not business. Okay, so you have to always put into consideration that even if you have not employed anybody, you tell yourself that I am saving this money for when I employ people, or I am putting up this culture so that I will be comfortable with employing someone to do this work for me. So that's how you put your workmanship. And again, Pomo has talked about profits, how you set your profit. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of salary do I want to earn? What kind of wages do I want to earn? Like I told myself now, on top of every cover shoe, I cannot earn less than 10,000 naira, meaning that that is what my profit. Even if I want to outsource it to somebody else, I can't earn less than 10,000 naira. That's what I told myself. Oh. Do you understand? That is me. So you have to tell yourself that even when I outsource this thing, what is the amount of money I want to earn from each work? At least that way you can use that place to take care of yourself. You can use that place to save. That's what most people, we are running businesses and you're not saving. You are not, everything just going back into the business. You're not growing. You're not investing. You can't buy new machines. You can't buy anything. Why? Because you don't even know how much you are paying yourself. So always remember to pay yourself. So I think that's what I can say about this.
Thank you very, very much, Dian. Yeah. And I think it is even. Could you mute? I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a good place to move right into the next question, which is keeping records. You know, you said you don't even know how much you are earning, so you don't know how much you should be paying yourself. And PJ Jr. has just asked, "Oh, PJ, how are you? How is Josh?" He has just asked, "My first question is about keeping records and accountability in business. Please, will you guys shed more light on this?" Okay, so let me take a bite on it. I used to struggle with records. Craft people really are generally have a bad habit with keeping records. We are all about the passion, all about the craft. So what I did was to set up structures for myself that will ordinarily compel me to keep records. So I used my banking app. I have regular bank accounts, but I realized that there is this bank called Kuda. Now, this is not, next time we are having this session, if you people know the people in Kuda, tell them to come and sponsor us because we are giving them free adverts. But they have a very lovely app, the Kuda business app. They have a very lovely app that I can use it to send invoices to my customers. I made 5 pairs of shoes for one of my customers, and on the Kuda app, I could generate invoices. I could add value-added tax. I could do all of those and send out the invoices. What happens is that once I create that invoice on the Kuda app, in their own records, they are keeping a record of what my VAT remittances should be. They are keeping records of my business so that, look, tomorrow, if I was applying for a grant or something and I needed to have records of my business, I could simply go to my bank statements. Once I have my bank statement from the Kuda app, I have good records of how the business have done. But the discipline on your own part is to now make sure you use that Kuda app, to make sure that you use it to do business. So I have customers who have come with me from the days when I was using my GT, my personal GT bank account for business. So they still send me money to that GT Bank account, I'm always disciplined to take that money from the GT Bank account and pass it through Kuda. I'm always disciplined when I go to Mushi to buy raw materials to pay for my raw materials and, give proper identification of what the expenditure is on the Kuda account. That way, the app can help you keep your record. So this is my own method. For time, let me just give D&L 1 minute to comment on that as well. D&L? DNL, did you hear me? I said if you want to take just 1 minute to respond to this PJ's comment, that would also be nice.
Okay. About accountability, I like what you said. I think there are several apps that can help with accountability, and it's not meant to be so difficult. It's not easy for us. It's not a norm, but it's not meant to be so difficult. So what I did was that I started by recording every order that comes into the shop. So we have a record book. So the record book puts the person's, even though the person's on my phone, the record book is in the shop here. It puts the person's name, the person's phone number, with the jobs the person brought in, when the dates that we said we're going to deliver, so that we can know, okay, according to, okay, this is the job and blah, 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 how much the person paid, how much the person is balancing. So this actually also helps me keep track of how much comes into the shop every day. So from there, I can know what kind of salary can I afford. I cannot go and be promising somebody I'll be paying the person 5,000 naira per day when I know that the money that's coming in a week is not up to that particular. So those are the places that help me track. I also have a blackboard. If you look behind me, use a whiteboard rather. Look behind me. I have a whiteboard, and on that whiteboard, normally I write down. It's normally I had a section, so I had a class. I have a leather camp going on. If not, normally it's meant to be filled with jobs for the week. So these are things that I do that usually help me keep records. I have a note where I write things. I write the money that I spend. What did I spend it on? The money that comes in, who gave it to me? Is it personal? Is it business? And again, you can also have several bank accounts. I have up to like 7 bank accounts. I have the ones that come in from shoes, from revamp, the one that comes in for personal. This thing. I also have I have a piggy vest app where I save money. You get, so because I know that I can easily move money from my GT bank to my piggy vest. Any money that I put in my GT bank, I know I can pull it easily to my piggy vest. But once that money enters OPay, OPay sharp, you can transfer. No. Alert has entered. So once that money enter OPay, I know say that money, it has gone. So OPay is just for day-to-day transactions. So these are the things that I had to, check and tell myself that, okay, from every footwear I make, let's say someone pays me 15,000 naira to make a slippers, right? A footwear. From every footwear I make, after removing the cost price of the footwear and the person pays, I tell myself, okay, I'm saving 5,000 naira from this money. And the 5,000 I'm saving from this money, maybe 2,000 from it is for materials, like it's for, maybe I'm saving towards a machine, or I'm removing my staff salary from this 2,000, from this money. So by the end of the week, paying of salary is not difficult for me. Buying of new machines is not difficult, because these things are step by step. They say little drops make a big ocean. So these are disciplines you can set in place to help things better.
Thank you so very, very much. The reviews that we've been getting appear to be very, very appreciative. Quite a number of people have said they are learning quite a lot. And to think that we have averaged about 20 to 22 views from start till this time means that, people are actually getting some value from what we are sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, I know quite a number of you who came here to hear Ohepo. I must apologize that he has had persistent network issues this morning. I know he will sort that out. And good thing is he's coming back tomorrow to talk about social media. And I would also get him to speak a little bit about some of the things that we've been talking about. If his network works at this time, if his network works at this time, Ohepo, just take the next 2 or 3 minutes to talk to someone who wants to transit. In fact, someone asked a question there. He said he's a physiotherapist that has just graduated, and he wants to talk. He wants you to advise him on what to do to transit from hobby to leathercraft business.
All right. So, first of all, yes. Can you guys hear me?
Very well. Yes, we can.
Can you all hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you excellently. I can hear you very well. Yes.
All right. Sincere apologies, okay, for all like
no problem at all.
I'm trying to fix the internet I was using. I had to switch to my router, so I was using my mobile, so it wasn't working fine. So I had to switch to my router. So sincere apologies for the delay. So okay, for that person asking that question, okay, physiotherapists that want to like venture into leathercraft, if I get that correct. Okay, so let me read it up again. I'm a fresh physiotherapy graduate. I work from home during my free time. Many a time, shoemaking takes a chunk of my time, as I am the only one who do just considering my situation. Okay, so if I get the question correctly, so a physiotherapist. So from my own point of view, I will see it as more like more like a career shift kind of a thing. But not at all. We are still picturing the hobby, but physiotherapy and leathercraft, they are far apart. Okay, but from what I see is like the person also have experience with shoemaking already. Okay, as it takes its own time. So how do I outsource considering my situation? So if I get this person's ask, it's more like, okay, shoemaking actually takes its time, but it's looking for a way to outsource. I don't know if I get that correct. Maybe you can throw more light on it, or Gaviton, so that I know how to answer best.
Okay, I think maybe I think this question has even been answered. Learn to trust people. He has to investigate. Really, I'll say investigate about the people who you are outsourcing to. D and L has also mentioned to us about being able to interpret what your customers really want. If you're able to interpret what your customers really want, and you're able to communicate it effectively to whoever you're outsourcing to, then you probably will not have a problem. But let me really get to what I wanted to hear you say, Ohepo, which is
okay.
People, you also have a day job. You also have a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you are able to do your craft. And
exactly.
I was speaking with you at some point, and you talked to me about that the shift from hobby to business happened when you started creating an inventory of products.
Exactly.
Can you just take the next 3 to 4 minutes and talk to us about why having an inventory is what differentiates a hobbyist from a businessman? Please.
Okay. All right. So to answer your question, the purpose of having an inventory is key, because it helps you in terms of data generation, right? Like if you like, cause when I started with like making small items like wallets, key holders, credit card holders, this kind of thing. So from that inventory, right, I'm having varieties of things. Okay, from this variety, I can see the ones that are moving, because the ones that are moving are the ones that customer keep on placing the order for. Okay, so something like key holders wasn't moving for me. I would say like something like wallets was moving, because these are day to day. People use it, and it's something that also way off over time. So having such an inventory, it will better guide you. Okay, since my audience are liking these things, they buy this thing most from me. It will guide me to also push more resources to them. Okay, to produce more of those things. Okay, and also the inventory also gives you this impression. Okay, you have varieties of choices to pick from. Okay, so like some customers, they might be lost. Okay, I want this, I want that, but I actually don't know. I don't know what I want exactly. So with your inventory, you can showcase to the person that, okay, look, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, and they are of different types. So it should better guide the person and also send that message across that, okay, you actually know your onions. You're not just only doing one thing. You are having that variety, which is a nice thing for human beings. I mean, for choice. Okay, so basically that is. I hope I answer your question right.
Oh yes, excellent. Now let
Yeah.
me, sometimes I like to be very, very clear. When we are blowing all of this big grammar inventory, all I went to Ohepo's studio. I sat there for a whole day. I just watched him work. And it occurred to me that what he does is he has a catalog of products. So the inventory simply means that at any point in time, he has a number of certain products waiting to go on sale. So if you come to his social media page and you see a wallet picture there and you order for a wallet, you're probably going to have it shipped to you because he has a number of wallets. That his plan about having an inventory is that he must always have a certain number of his products, especially exactly what he has talked about now. The ones that are moving, of course, will have a higher number on the inventory. So let's say wallets sell more. So he would always have, let's say, 12 wallets always at the ready. Maybe key holders don't move, so just 2 key holders at the ready. Maybe bags, 2 bags, and that way it gave me a mindset shift. I didn't used to do that. I was a mate to other person. Look, if you say you want a Chelsea boot, send me an order for a Chelsea boot. I'll go to market, I'll buy raw materials, or if I had raw materials, I'll start making a Chelsea boot for you. But that gave me a mindset shift. Have certain products in your inventory that are always there, ready to go, so that people will have things to buy. What does that do to you? It drives your marketing. At least that's what it does for me. So you have things that you are offering to sell. You're not a businessman if you don't have what you're selling. So your inventory is what you have to sell. You may get burnt in creating the inventory. You find that you didn't get to sell, but you have learned that it does not sell, right? You have learned that, look, this is what doesn't sell. So next time you are replenishing the inventory, so maybe you say, I'll have 6 Chelsea boots at the ready. And then it took you 5 months to sell 3 of those Chelsea boots. By the time you sell the 3rd Chelsea boots, you are not going to be replenishing it with 3 more Chelsea boots. You probably will just do 1 more, and that way. The same way that the people who own supermarkets, you come to a supermarket and you always see products, but they don't go to market with a trailer every time to buy the entire supermarket. They have an inventory. They have a number of products that must always be in the store for them to sell. So that's one thing that Ohepo taught me over the time, the past couple of months that I have been collaborating with him, and I thought that it was important to point that out to you guys. We've been here for almost 1 hour 30 minutes. Wow. And you guys have just remained put on the channel. I know some of you who are asking me for technical things. I know someone who said things about how to make spring vamps. I'll do it. I probably by Saturday, really, I'll probably. So what I want you guys who are asking for technical questions about how to make certain things, certain aspects of shoes. This gentleman, Samson James, he said, I want. What did he say? He said, I want advice. I want to make shoes. I wear size 45. Most times I see in the market is smaller times, genuine material. So all of that we will keep till Saturday when we talk about the technical sessions. Dede Man will be here, hopefully, and we can deal with those technical things. Today is dealing with trade, moving from a hobby to a business. And I'm very, very grateful that D and L, you could make it, even though on short notice. God bless you. And then Ohepo, we started out with D and L. Let's end with you. Well,
All
okay,
right.
we'll still give D and L an opportunity to say last words. You know,
Okay.
you've been out for much of the conversation, but now that we have
Exactly.
you
So
here,
sorry about that.
no, but I've already promised them that you're going to be here tomorrow to talk about social media. So they are waiting for you and they all have their questions. So we'll sort this
All right.
network
So
matter
perfect.
out.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, we'll
All
sort
right.
this
Good.
network matter out and then we'll come back tomorrow to drill down on social media. So, but your last words about transiting from
Sure. Okay.
hobby to business, yes, please. Your last words, what advice
Okay.
do you
So
have? Yeah, go ahead, please.
yeah. So the advice, yeah. So the advice I give anyone that is open to like switch from that from that hobby to a business is to be dedicated. Okay, we live in a time whereby we live in a global village basically because of the internet. So whatever you're doing, be dedicated in doing. You don't know who's listening to you, you don't know who is looking at you. Be dedicated and give it your best shot. That is the best advice I can give, because I mean the world is big enough for you to thrive. It's big for all of us all to thrive. So no need for competition. Just do your thing and be best at doing it. That's what I advise anybody.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. And
You're
when
welcome.
Ohepo says be dedicated, he means what he's saying. I know him. Most of his clients come from outside of the country. Most of his customers come from outside of the country. And he's just quiet, collecting his money, you know, making cool money. And that comes from being dedicated to the craft. So, yes, the sky is big enough. You can make big money. And if you are dedicated and if you actually give yourself the time to learn the ropes to do big things. DNL, last words. Yeah, if you could have
Yeah,
your
if
last
you could
words.
have your last word.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
okay. So
Okay, yeah.
I just wrote out a few things. The first thing you should do, and don't ever forget that, be intentional about everything you are doing. Be very intentional. That's number one. Then be consistent. Just keep doing what you are doing every day. Little drops make a big ocean. No matter how small it is, just dedicate some time every day to your craft. Then be seen. Make sure you are seen is the most difficult part of the scene. It's not eye service. People only patronize what they see. Just make sure you invest in a good phone. Let people see your post. Just let them just see that you are doing something. Be seen. Then the next thing is be excellent at what you do. All right, because one bad job can give you bad publicity and destroy years of your hard work. So be excellent in what you're doing, and keep selling. Don't be ashamed to sell your products. Tell people about you. You don't know the person that is going to actually patronize you properly has not heard about you yet. Then finally, believe in yourself. Don't allow anybody to look down on you. Just believe in yourself. Have that faith that you can do it. I always tell my students, you can do it. Just keep saying it. Affirmation. And I think that's all I have to say about this.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank you, ladies
gentlemen.
and gentlemen.
We've been here for 1 hour, 30 minutes. We've had a swell time. D and L has held court like she always does. I should invite you for these things more often. Thank you so very much, D and L. Thank you so very much, Ohepo.
Thank you.
You've been quite you know, you are that elder in the village that just speaks in parables. You change the word and it just sinks in, lands very, very hard.
Sure.
Everyone here, there are 24 of us on the live stream. Like I said,
Okay.
this is a record for me. A 1 hour, 30 minutes live stream, and then 24 people staying by just to listen. And that's I'm very grateful to you guys. If I could say give yourself a round of applause, I could say, but if you clapped, no one would hear. So thank you
That's
so
true.
very much. I guess this is a good time to log off. It is 10:36 right now in Nigeria. Okay, Diana, you have something to say? Yes, please.
Okay, so I just wanted to, for people who actually want to contact me, because I usually do some coachings too. I could just, talk to you one on one if you have an issue. You can just follow my Instagram handle or my TikTok handle. I don't know if it's something you can put it up, or do I type it in the comment section, or do I say it out here? Which of them? Which is it? Okay, so I should say it
Do,
out or type it.
do both. Type in the comment section.
Okay.
Type in the comment section.
Okay.
Type in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, type in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, please.
All right, perfect. So I'll just say it out for people who want to follow my Instagram handle. The Shoe Architect. So that is at DEE full stop Shoe Architect together. DEE full stop Shoe Architect together. That is Instagram. Then for TikTok, the Leather Goddess. So that's DEE full stop Leather Goddess together. So that's the TikTok. DEE full stop Leather Goddess together. So, and I also drop my number too here for WhatsApp for people who actually want to chat me, because I run some coaching sections for small brands. Let me not say small brand, because every brand is big. Upcoming brands, people who are just new in the industry, I don't know how to start. I can actually help you out with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, DNL, for giving us that last bit of very useful information. So chat her up at the Shoe Architect, the Leather Goddess. Check her out on social media. I'm going to get her to put all of these in the WhatsApp group and also in the chat, in the comment section here. So follow her up, and let me put out a competition. I'll set out a poll in the WhatsApp group. Anyone who wants us to bring D&L back so that she can talk us through the process of obtaining grants, say aye. If we have at least 30 yeses, then she has no option. She will have to come back and do the channel. She has just logged off. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good time to log off. God bless you. Have a lovely, lovely evening, and see you in the next class. Ohebo, I'll see you backstage. God bless you.